It's really hard to outline and bring shape to the narcissist's ways, where they render up your self as being pretty much non-existent. I mean, it's just basically like, well, how do you explain something that's rendered up shapeless and um, distorted, kind of, because they're distorted. And you could take all of that personally, and when you do, you get bent out of shape trying to make corrections and do all this shit. If you're a healthy person, you know, it's kind of like a mother that just knows that's a toddler, and you wait because they're going to grow up. But the problem with the narcissist, the problem of why we have a problem um, with the pathological narcissist is because they don't go through that process of growing into anything, really. You can imagine, if you can imagine, there's a process. It's like growth within growth, you know, it really is. Because there's things that you're going to continually keep coming across and learning, and it kind of resets your mind. It's like, well, it wasn't even what I thought, and this feels better, and thank you. You know, after a while, you get it. Anyway, I originally wanted to talk about how they end up making you feel, and it's really hard to talk about this because they mess with your self-worth, and then it's like, well, maybe it's not really an issue, and it's like, it's number one, it's the biggest issue. You're losing you're undermining your own values about yourself. Really hard to talk about. So like, what do you mean? What is it? Well, um, you know, they don't really have a conscience, but you do, so they work on that. They'll do a first offense, is what I call it. And then pretty soon, you know, you really need to pull them up on that, and you need to follow those red flags, because that's where you're going to get deeper and deeper into your own self-deception. Pretty much, they could be practicing that. Some of them, a lot of them, all of them, maybe, you know, because there's so many different flavors and varieties, but there's like a basic general thing that can happen with you if you don't understand. If they're a malignant narcissist, for sure, you will be undermined of your IQ level, you know, thinking that there's something there that is worth working with, or like what I mean is that something can grow out of it. They're done growing and they're stuck in patterning, and they'll drag you down to that low life frequency. After a while, okay, so like if you bust up on them and you start not being able to handle, and you just have a short, they'll make you a short temper all the time when it comes to them, and they'll make you always just yeah, that and so then pretty soon you become the toxic one, and they start to point that out. They're like, you know, you just, you know, it's that unconscious, non-self-reflective society out there is just a secondhand smoke of most all society, where when you start going like this, they're going, oh, you seem too sensitive. What's wrong with you? You have something. Well, we'll quarantine you off and put you over there. And they outcast the healthy people. It's precisely what's happening. You know, you can't have a healthy reaction to the profoundly sick society out there. The only way to see, the thing is that they don't have a real conversation. If you really look at it, it will start from this non-existent place. If you're involved, after a while, eventually, this is what happens, is that you're dragged into their low life frequency, because they're not going to reach any other higher of an understanding. It could be because of wiring, or they're constantly around the wrong people, or the wrong, doing the wrong drugs, or who knows what. I'm a super sensitive empath, and I pick up on neurological brain damage, and you know, the truth is, with a lot of you people, 80%, if you're probably not watching this, I mean, only empaths are really, if I put a title up that says the dilemma of living with narcissism that is blooming out there right now because of the Mars square Neptune. And the people that have Mars square Neptune in their charts, I imagine women in particular, are probably right just immersed in a life of dealing with these men that are full of this deception, who they don't even know what's going on, to tell you the truth. You women need to start pulling up and saying, hello, and you start with your body, because it doesn't matter. I've said this before, and I'm going to finish this up. It doesn't matter what you guys are doing all around each other. Your religious beliefs and your political views, it doesn't matter really. You fly a plane and she flies an F-16, and he does balloons, or you do a car, or he has a mohawk, or she has tattoos, or they pierce their fucking whatever's going on. When it comes time to that heat of the moment that somebody is asking to get inside and you guys are having a personal union, and then it becomes disrespect and undermining and all of this weird energetic things that are happening in a flash, and it could even amount to just rape, right? That's all that matters. And then what comes out of that is a possible birthing children or not, but yes, a civilization. That's all that matters. Why are you even concerned? Who cares? But this is where I just keep looking at. I'm thinking, okay, so what about the issue of, and I'm not blaming it on any one person. I really put it in the core of the woman's arena, who she has to take control of her own body and honor her own body. Both of them do. I say both of them just max it out alone. Stay away from each other until you can start finding interest, genuine interest in who that opposite thing is. Do you really want to be present with each other? Will you meet in the middle? Do you realize it's two different fucking worlds, really? And there is a balance, but you know what? Man, when you guys are ungrateful about that and you're just, you're lost with an illusion, this is where it's vital. This is coming up with 8 minutes now, but it's coming up in the human population, just looking at okay, women are going through their thing too, which is a complete overhaul, having gone through behind the sun in Scorpio. It's very slow. And then Mercury is going to be already uncovering some things, and we're trying to work together, but there's a faction, there's a side, and both of them, really both of them. This is not just a man's issue or a woman's issue. This is both. Narcissism is the secondhand smoke of society. I mean, I've already kind of went through it. There's a lot to talk about it, and that's all we can do. And say, well, what is the issue? Let's get deeper and deeper into it. What it is like our value system, like the truth. And the narcissist has a really hard time with doing the truth, and therefore they don't feel good to be around. I mean, kids will notice right away. The poor things, and they're just observing how people interact with each other, and they're getting an example, and really it's not a good example to set to a child to stay with your narcissist. If it's a toxic relationship and you're having to go ghost, and you don't really have, first of all, you don't have a relationship with a narcissist. You just don't. If you pay attention at the very beginning, something off about it. It wasn't real, and they're not giving it enough time. They rush into things, and it's really after a while. But people are having kids out of this, and then but then when it gets serious, like when you have kids, and they realize this person can't really um, function. It's not that they can't run the system. They're not being present as a compassionate human being. It's hard to tell who's who. Usually there's a narcissist that's really active, and they are dressed to the T, and then there's their empath in the background who's just they don't have any acknowledgement of their world that they live in. It's two totally different worlds. And it doesn't have to be it's because it's men and women. No, woman narcissist is really bad with their man in the corner. They're just hardly caring about his shape that he's in. He can't get out of feeling the way he does, which is always just cut down, and he doesn't realize he's in an abusive relationship. Why do they stay there? Because their parents stayed in it, and they think it's worth it, and they're showing their kids how to do that, and I'm saying, no,